Now here's Ralph. Ralph Fischer, an engineer and entrepreneur, lives in Austria on beautiful Lake Mondsee with his wife Helga. Ralph always finds the right words and gets straight to the point. Ralph will explain what Helena just showed us. Ralph, how do these vibrations actually work? Tell us about it. Yes, dear Laura, thank you for your wonderful introduction. Indeed, I'd like to quote Carmen, who told me earlier, we used to be so caught up in our heads and logic, but now it's about listening to our hearts more. Yet when I encountered these creations in 2015 through my wife Helga, while still in my old job and life, it triggered something in me, purely logical and rational. For the first time, I saw the effects and thought, how on earth is this supposed to work? It can't be that just spraying a bit does the trick. This triggered me because my studies focused on communications engineering, all about oscillations and frequencies. I started looking into it, but then I realized that was unfair of me. I mean, I never asked how aspirin works, right? I know what it does and I take it if I want, but no one ever explained its chemical effects in the body. But with Lavylites, I felt I had to understand it. So I did my research and read books. And two things in particular really resonated with me. I've read much more, but particularly about Fritz Albert Pop's biophotons and Bruce Lipton's intelligent cells. What's this all about? It's about, and I like to quote Nikola Tesla here, who was an electrical engineer like me, but more inventive, I think. He said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's hard to grasp even for me, despite my background. So what did I do? We looked at what emerged back then, leading to these strange vibrations that every living being, every single cell emits. In the 1920s, experiments with onions somehow showed that information exchange was taking place. So if we want to take a closer look, what exactly is a vibration? An electromagnetic vibration. We see wave troughs, wave crests, mountains, even offset into electrical and magnetic components, but that's not important. There are slow oscillations and fast oscillations. And all of this is expressed in the form of a frequency. I have an even better image, my favorite one. Here we see the entire spectrum of vibrations ever measured on Earth or generated by humans. And we're familiar with these vibrations in this particular range. Only here does soft tissue allow vibrations to pass through while bone doesn't. And that's how X-rays were accidentally discovered. We all know the effect of infrared radiation. To the right of red, we can't see anything, yet we still feel the warmth. And then we have electricity. For instance, we know that broadcasting is needed to spread information widely. And broadcasting only works in the frequency band where you see these cell towers. Interestingly, humans have a sensory organ that can detect electromagnetic waves. This is actually our optic nerve. Our optic nerve can perceive electromagnetic waves and interpret them as colors, as shown in this spectrum. We all know colors don't really exist, they're just our brain's interpretation of vibrations. In this visible light range, there's a faint intensity of what we call biophotons. What exactly are these? These biophotons enable substance-free electromagnetic communication between organisms and cells, allowing cells to self-regulate. This concept extends to foreign organisms, which also have their own vibrations. These foreign organisms can disrupt the regulation of individual cells. At this point, illness may potentially arise. What exactly is illness from the perspective of vibrations and waves? From this view, certain body areas have controlling electromagnetic waves or biophotons that are too weak. It's like a radio that's too quiet, we might say. Trauma, toxins, or pathogens can create electromagnetic interference in our cells, disrupting proper information exchange. What does this imply? If the communication between cells via the very weak biophoton light is disrupted, it can negatively affect cell regeneration and division. It's believed that a low level of stored light particles indicates an energy deficiency, potentially leading to illness over time. That's the perspective on disease from the viewpoint of biophotons and vibrations. So what does self-healing mean from this perspective? Well, the physical self-healing potential is linked to the individual's biophoton concentration in the body. Simply put, the more light your cells emit, the better they can heal and maintain a wonderful balance. You might have heard of something called cell voltage. Every cell's membrane has a negative voltage, ideally between -70 and -100 millivolts. The healing process within the cell simply runs faster when there's plenty of light. So I wondered, can Lavylites creations somehow support this harmonization of biophotons in the cell? I didn't want to rely on people's testimonials. I wanted to measure it objectively. That's when I came across this device. Oberon originally comes from Russian space technology. It was used to monitor cosmonauts. It sends photons into the body via headphones and listens to the responses from various organs and cells. In this resonance chamber you see in the middle, I can send vibrations into the body to check the resonance with liver cells, lung cells, and so on. Does it support them? We see this in the right image with constructive interference. This means the cell radiates more. Or is it weakening? Then it would reduce the cell's wave energy, so to speak. This device measures that beautifully. We see various color scales here. I'll explain this with an example. Yellow and orange roughly correspond to grades 2 to 3. Here, the observed cell area is in good self-regulating condition. I've done hundreds of tests, and since it's allergy season, I've chosen an example of the nasal cavity, shown on the left in poor condition, also called high entropy. In English, the level of disorder here is very high. Zooming in, you can see the nasal cavity with these brown areas we'd rather not have. In this state, the cell can't regenerate or regulate itself. I've overlaid our Lavino's device on the resonance chamber image. As you can see, this overlay creates a harmonious state throughout the nasal cavity. A migraine sufferer came in and the device pinpointed the affected brain area. Zooming in on the cell, you can see it's in a poor energetic state. The brown and black areas show the cell can't help itself here. Here's the resonance chamber filled with the sensitive. See its effect. Yellow and orange icons indicate a rating of about 2.5. I think this is an excellent result. I have 2 more examples for you. The right lung shows deterioration from top to bottom. Red is grade 4, brown 5, and black 6. Zoomed in, we see many black symbols indicating a poor condition in this area. There's potential for diseases to develop here. Here we tested with 32. You can see a beautiful yellow-orange color. More yellow than orange, significantly better than grade 2 in this area. The last example I have for you is a heart valve. Imagine this chamber simulating the effect of overlapping vibrations. This doesn't mean this state is immediately reached. Our cells regenerate over weeks, and it's crucial to monitor how this process develops. For instance, you can see here the heart valve area, which is in poor condition. What do you think I used here? It's obvious. The strongest product was Pentel Heart. We took monthly device measurements, and the state we simulated in the resonance chamber took 4 to 5 months to physically manifest in the tissue as regeneration needed time. But it simply worked. I finally had my objective measurement method. I'm thrilled to say biophotons with positive info, like in Lavylites Helena mentioned, enhance cellular light flow supporting self-healing. Thank you for your attention.